Hello and welcome back to the Sports Center YouTube channel. So Liverpool have lost their second Premier League game this season, the first loss away from Anfield on the road. I've got to say, as a Liverpool fan, look, we're going to win the league. Touch wood. So, it's going to be a great season all round. It's going to be a successful season. But are we stumbling over the line a little bit? I'm not too sure. And what I want to touch on today is, I'm not here to criticise Arne in terms of first season in the Premier League. He's got no managerial experience in the Premier League, and he looks like he's going to win it at his first attempt. Unbelievable achievement from the guy. But is he flogging his squad? And what I mean by that is especially the midfield, or even the centre halves. To be fair, I wouldn't really think about that. Let's touch on the centre halves. So off the back of the defeat to Fulham, or even the game before actually against Everton, Konate and Van Dijk, they were looking a bit shaky. And look, you're not going to drop Van Dijk. He's Virgil van Dijk. He's probably one of the greatest centre-backs ever to play in the Premier League. He's in that debate. Konate, he struggles with his injury, struggles with fitness. He's prone to an injury. Joel Kwanzaa had a great season, had a great breakthrough season last year at Liverpool. He had a bit of a shaky start this season. He's been in and out of the team in the cups and things like that. He's had a stint at right back and playing centre half. But Konate didn't have a great game against Everton. He had a terrible start to the game against Fulham. And, why not give Kwanzaa a bit of time? Why not freshen your squad up? Why not keep the guys hungry? Get them fighting for competition, fighting for players, because ultimately that's what teams like Liverpool need. Your Arsenal, your Man Cities, everyone that's fighting on all fronts. I know Liverpool aren't fighting on all fronts now, but the teams that are, you need a squad. You need two full-backs for each wing. You need four centre-halves. You need arguably potentially like a first-choice goalkeeper as your backup goalkeeper, because you get injuries. Honestly, like these players get put through so much in terms of through the clubs, in terms of playing for the countries. You see it with Arsenal. Liverpool have had injuries in the past few years. Man City have got them now. Haaland's out for the rest of the season, I believe. Arsenal have had a terrible injury record this season. Tottenham, Man United. I could go on and on in terms. So clubs need squads more than ever now. But coming back to Slot and the midfield, we look leggy in that midfield at the moment, and that's what I say about it. Is he flogging this team? Is he running it into the ground? Are we going to stumble over the line in terms of winning the Premier League? And one example that I can think of is the week leading up to the Carabao Cup final. So I think Liverpool played 3 games in the space of, 10 days or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. We played Southampton at home, where we had a shaky start. We went 1-0 down, albeit we came from behind them and won. Then we played PSG at home in the midweek, lost on penalties. And then we played the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle. All 3 of those games, in a short space of time, we played 3 starting midfielders. We played the same ones every single game. And I suppose I'm alluding to players, and I've got 2 in mind, to be fair. One of them's Harvey Elliott. And is he up to the level of Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch? Like, he doesn't play the 6, so you can kind of rule him out of the Gravenberch one. But against Southampton at home, albeit, we're pushing for the league, but why not give Endo a run out? Why not give Curtis Jones a run out in the 6? Give Gravenberch a week off, or at least 60 minutes off. And if we need him to bring him on, bring him on. But we play the same midfielders, and we did it again against Fulham, and we look leggy. We look really leggy. And I feel so sorry for Harvey Elliott, because when he comes on, he makes a difference. He likes to get the ball to feet. He'll drop deep. He'll make stuff happen. He links up well down that right-hand side with Mo Salah. He makes a difference. He came on against PSG away. We nicked to win there. He scored the goal, took his goal really well. He came on against Fulham. He was making things tick. He had a couple of shots. He hit the bar, nearly got the equaliser for us. he's a good ball player. He's not blessed with pace, obviously, height and strength, but he is good on the ball. Technically, he's quite good at linking up in that midfield. And it's a shame, really, that he's probably going to end up leaving Liverpool, because is he going to come and just sit on the bench and just literally get pretty much no minutes week in, week out? I just can't see that. And why would he want it? He's still a young lad. He's still got the best part of, I think he's only, I don't know without looking up, I don't even think he's older than 20, 23 maybe, something like that. So he's got 10 years in the game at least left. And Liverpool's his boyhood club, so he doesn't want to leave Liverpool, but ultimately he may have to. And another one that it baffles me why we've not used more, but it's Federico Chiesa. Now, he's had a terrible injury record coming to Liverpool, and if you believe the rumour to be true, that we basically had to put him through a bit of a pre-season during the season because he wasn't up to the standard. His fitness levels wasn't there. Fair enough, but he never gets used. Mo Salah plays week in, week out, and the guy's class. He's not called the Egyptian king for nothing. He is unbelievable. But give him some time off. Give Chiesa more minutes. Trust in him, because every time albeit maybe the Plymouth game, take that as a one-off. When he comes on, he makes a difference. He scored in the League Cup. I think he scored in the FA Cup as well. I'm not sure about the Champions League, but he likes to get the ball. He likes to get a shot off. And I've just looked at this stat now, because every time he comes on the pitch, I'm thinking he always seems to have a chance. He came on against Fulham. I think he got maybe 81st minute, 83rd minute, something like that. So he had the best part of 10 minutes with including injury time. And he had two pretty decent chances. He always seems to get in the areas where he can impact, he can score. And in the Premier League, he's made 4 appearances for Liverpool this season. 4. All of them off the bench. And a total of 33 minutes played. So he's played nothing. But he's managed to get 4 shots in that time, and 2 of them on target. So if you think the guy's played half an hour, 33 minutes, he's played half an hour, and he's managed to have 4 shots. Like most strikers in a game may not have 4 shots. He's had 4 in 30 minutes. That's a mad stat. I couldn't believe that. And as I say, I just think it's going to be an interesting summer at Liverpool. It's going to be really interesting, because Slot can't continue to play the same 3 midfielders week in, week out, because ultimately he'll just be back to where he was a couple of years ago, where Fabinho, Henderson, Milner, all those players basically ran out of legs at the same time. And if he keeps doing to McAllister, to Jones, to Soberslime, to Gravenberch, week in, week out, just continuously running these players into the ground, they're going to be knackered, and we're going to be having to have another midfield rebuild because of the fact that he just won't trust his squad. And as I say, we all know the links with Zubimendi. We wanted to get Zubimendi through the door, but would that mean Gravenberch's time on the pitch and also the progress he's made as a player would have been restricted? Who knows? We'll never know. But as I say, we're going to win the Premier League. Liverpool will get over the line. I'm sure of it. I'm positive of it. But it looks like we're potentially going to stumble over it. And we've got a few tricky games coming up. We've got Tottenham coming up. I mean, look, on paper, yeah, we should beat Tottenham. They're just hovering above the rail. I think they won yesterday against Southampton, who were, let's face it, the shite. They got relegated. We've got Arsenal to come. There's a few little tricky games where we could do with getting this title wrapped up sooner rather than later. I think we've got a nice couple of games coming up. We've got West Ham at home and Leicester away. Liverpool need to get 6 points out of those games to make sure that the rest of the season goes as smoothly as possible. And I'm interested to see his selection for West Ham, whether someone like Harvey comes in and he gives someone a rest, and especially Leicester as well, who, let's face it, Leicester are pretty much relegated as well. So why not use your squad? Why not freshen it up? They're there for a reason, those players. So use them, give them more time, switch it up, give players 60-30 here, and then maybe vice versa the week after. You don't always have to play that same midfield. And as I say, as a Liverpool fan, Harvey Elliott's a decent player, and he's the big one for me in terms of that engine room, that midfield where you're bombing up and down. You're using a lot of energy, a lot of legs, and we need to freshen it up in there. We need a little bit of rotation. Curtis Jones has been playing right back, fair enough. Conor Bradley's back now, so that should free up Jones to be able to play as a midfielder. And again, you've got a couple of options then with Jones and Harvey Elliott rotating with McAllister and Szoboszlai. And I just don't want to see these players get run into the ground like we did with, like, say, the Henderson and the Fabinho and James Milner to an extent. But I think James Milner was 36 or something like that when he left Liverpool, so he was on the kind of decline anyway, to be fair. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, Liverpool fans especially. Is Slot running these players into the ground a little bit? And also, let me know who you think potentially could come in the summer, because I think it's going to be an interesting summer. I think we're going to get maybe 3 or 4 in the door, but I can also see maybe 4 or 5 going the other way, because there's some players that he obviously doesn't fancy. There's some obvious ones that come to mind. He obviously doesn't fancy Núñez. He doesn't fancy Harvey Elliott. Yeah, so let's see. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.